ما احنا طلعنا اتكلمنا 100 مره يا جماعه وقلنا ما حدش يروح للمغرب، المغرب ما هيش دوله امنه للسياح علشان ينزلوا المغرب. طبعا دون كلام مين؟ السياح اللي معانا من اوروبا. طبعا الناس من اوروبا بيتكلموا النهارده يا جماعه عن المغرب.
طبعا اللي بيقولوا لها مثلا، اللي بيقولوا لهم ما تنزلوش المغرب، فهي دي بقى بترد على الناس اللي بيقولوا لها ايه ما تنزلوش المغرب سواء.
ايوه يعني في، ما انا بتكلم يا داليا ايه، بقول للناس يعني في ناس كتير بتطلع بتقول ما حدش يروح للمغرب، المغرب مش امنه للسياح ان هم ينزلوا فيه. فالنهارده بقى احنا جايبين لهم بقى الحقيقه، الصدمه اللي هي فعلا كل واحد بيطلع يقول ما تنزلوش المغرب علشان المغرب مش امنه، دوت عنده حقد وكراهيه على التقدم والتطور اللي موجود في المغرب.
اكيد يا بس،
لان هو مستغرب ازاي ان دوله بحجم المغرب ماشيه داليا،
او بمعنى اصح يا بس ان هم شايفين دايما الدول اللي هي تبع افريقيا ان احنا مثلا
متاخرين وناس جاهله وانت فاهمه.
أيوة.
فمش عايزين صورتنا تظهر بالمنظر الحلو.
أكيد.
لكن احنا النهارده بقى معانا يا جماعه دليل قاطع النهارده من اوروبيين موجودين في المغرب بيقولوا من الحقيقه وبصدمهم. كل واحد طبعا يا جماعه طالع يتكلم في حق المغرب ويقول ما حدش ينزل فيه. لا، ده المغرب اولا امنه سياحيا، ده السياح بينزلوا يتجولوا في الشوارع الشعبيه.
أيوة.
في الاسواق الشعبيه كمان.
الجميله دي الحدقيه، بس لما تيجي تنزل
الاجواء اللي هي الشعبيه اللي هي الحته حلوه دي. اي حد بيتمنى ينزل بيحب الشعبيه واللي هي الاماكن.
طبعا ما بين الناس اللي زينا كده يا بس،
ويمشي في وسط الناس ويعرف. لا، بيبقى لها طعم مختلفه داليا. وبعدين في المغرب مختلفه اكتر لان هم شعب بيعرف يتعامل ازاي مع الناس اللي بتنزل.
ايوه.
فعلشان كده يا جماعه هنسيبكم تتابعوا مع بعض الفيديو ونشوف الرد منكم انتم في الفيديو في التعليقات، ويلا بينا ندخل نشاهد الفيديو.
I visited Morocco twice last year and it quickly became one of my favourite countries. It completely exceeded all expectations, and while I was there, one of the things I was thinking about the most was that there are some big misconceptions that people had about this country. Since I returned from Morocco, I was always asked a few questions, and honestly, my answers to these questions were completely different by what these misconceptions would have you to believe. Let me explain. I visited Morocco as a solo traveller only for 24 hours initially, and then I went back in November with my mum for about a week. So it was just the two of us travelling around together, and the very first time I went to Tangier for 24 hours as part of our overland challenge that I was doing. And when I came back and I talked about Morocco, so many people said to me, did you feel safe as a solo female traveller or as two female travellers? And my answer was, I felt so safe. I've always felt safer in Moroccan cities than I have walking around London or even Exeter. So let's go into why. So first up, I never ever want to discount anyone's experience of feeling unsafe anywhere in the world. Obviously, anywhere you go in the world, there are some people who are going to make places feel less safe. For example, I had a really bad experience in Vienna. Literally, I was in the station in Vienna and some guy came right up to me, completely invaded my personal space, tried to grab my arm, started talking in my face, and I had to scream, jump away, and then ran away. This was in the middle of the day, and no one actually came up to me and asked me if I was okay, which also made me feel less safe. But that happened to me in Vienna. Obviously, some travellers have gone to Morocco and have had bad experiences, but I think it is so important not to tar the whole country with the same brush, because I found in general Moroccan people are exceptionally friendly, welcoming, hospitable, and just want travellers to be happy and safe in their country. But while I said people can have different experiences, let's look at the actual statistics, because this is where the real misinformation lies. So I'm going to go on Numbeo. I've got my laptop here. I'm going to go on Numbeo, which has really good data about safety in different cities across the world. So I'm going to do Numbeo city safety comparison, and I've not done this before, but I'm going to compare Marrakesh to London, and I bet you Marrakesh will score safer. Only because I've done this for so many different cities around the world, and I'm aware of London's safety stats, and they are not very good. Current safety index by city. So we're going to do London, United Kingdom, and we're going to compare London to Marrakesh, Morocco. So, level of crime. Marrakesh, moderate, 41.85. London, high, 64.61. Crime increasing in the last 3 years. Marrakesh, moderate, 49.12. London, high, 70.99. I won't go into all of this, but basically we've got worries about home broken and things being stolen is low in Marrakesh and high in London. Worries of being mugged and robbed are moderate in both, but the rate is still higher in London. Car stolen is low in Marrakesh, moderate in London. Worries about being attacked is low in Marrakesh, moderate in London. The only thing that Marrakesh scores higher on than London is corruption and bribery. Everything else, Marrakesh scores much better, as in safer, than London. And then there's also safety walking alone during daylight is about the same in both cities. Safety walking alone during night is low in London and it's moderate in Marrakesh. So if you feel safe in London, statistically, you should feel safer in Marrakesh. And actually, I will just have another little look because obviously that's Marrakesh. I'm going to just compare Tangier as well. So crime in London, compare London with Tangier, Morocco. Yeah, again, Tangier scores higher on everything than London does, apart from corruption and bribery. It's about the same levels in Tangier as Marrakesh, to be fair. Also, just a quick note. I have put all of my thoughts about Morocco safety in this blog post, and I have so many more Morocco blogs on my website. If you want to check them out, scan this QR code or head to the link in my description. That is what the statistics say. So why do people have this conception of Morocco not being safe or not being safe for solo female travellers? I don't know. I walked around Tangier. I had zero hassle. One guy in the Casbah was asking me where I was going and was saying he could show me the way, and I politely declined his offer. He may have just been being nice. I have heard that sometimes people try and show you the way and then might take you to a shop or ask you for a tip or something like that. Nothing major. Something similar did happen to me in Tunisia. Again, very low levels. We were just kind of shown around the Casbah by someone, and then we were taken into his friend's shop, and then we were sort of a bit confused why we were there, and we said, sorry, you're not going to buy anything, and that was that. Very, very low levels of anything bad. I don't know if that was the case there. Like I say, he could have just been being nice, and I really don't want to get to the stage where I'm not trusting people who are just nice, because some people are just nice. So Tangier felt so safe and constantly just kept thinking about how safe a place it really felt. On my second trip, I landed in Marrakesh with my mum. Again, we went through the airport, we were met by our driver who we'd arranged to pick us up, and then that evening went out in Marrakesh, walking around. Everyone was really, really nice. You go past restaurants, you get a few people saying, you know, do you want to come in? But they're just saying, you know, it's nothing intense. Had a nice meal. The next day we did do a guided tour around Marrakesh, largely because I wanted to see a few more hidden gems in the city. But in the evening we walked around on our own. The one thing we didn't do in Marrakesh was spend that much time after dark in Jum'a Square. This isn't because it's unsafe at all, but I had heard reports of some people who had, I don't know if you'd call them scams, but maybe have had like been taking pictures of people and then been asked for money, or have like been walking along and suddenly there's like a monkey there and they're like, do you want to hold the monkey? And we personally weren't interested in any of that, so we just decided to not spend too much time walking through it. But we didn't avoid it. We did go up to a balcony, sort of see it all come to life, and then we just walked around and then out, but we just didn't deliberately walk through the square. Other than that, we walked around Marrakesh every single evening on our own, didn't experience any hassle. Couldn't think of a single time we were hassled, and all I think about looking back on it is I just think about how nice everyone was and how friendly everyone was, and everyone was just welcoming us to their country. Then we took a train. The train was great, really enjoyed that, and went to Fez. And Fez, again, we did have a guide when we were walking around, again, because we just wanted to learn about the history, get under the skin a bit more of the city. But actually, when we first arrived, we did walk through the old town on our own, the old city on our own. And we were, you know, we had all our bags and everything, and we weren't 100% sure where we were going. And people helped us and didn't expect a tip or anything. People, you know, we were sort of walking through and a couple of people sort of pointed the direction and stuff. The dumb thing to do when you arrive, if you're staying in the Fez, the Casbah or the Medina? I think it's the Casbah. If you're staying there, the dumb thing to do is that you pay a guy with a trolley, a couple of like about 20 dinar or dirham I think it is. And then he puts your bags in the trolley and he takes you to your riad. we didn't have any cash, so we weren't able to do that. So I was just sort of wheeling our bags, and I was like, it's all right, it's only 10 minutes, you know, we'll be able to find it. So a couple of people did ask if they wanted us to, you know, use their services, but not in a hassly way, just as in they were a bit confused why we were wheeling the suitcases through. We would have used it, we just didn't have the cash on us, which is a good reminder that if you're going to Morocco, do make sure you're carrying a little bit of cash with you at all times, or a little bit of like small change with you at all times. Anyway, got to the Riyadh, and yeah, the next day we were out and about with the guide, but again, very chill, just chilled. We walked around Chefchaouen on our way up to Tangier Med. We walked around Chefchaouen, again, chilled. In the main square, there's restaurants, and there are people sort of saying, you know, showing their menus, asking if you want to eat in their restaurant, but nothing that would make you feel hassled at all. The one thing I will say is that there's quite a lot of banter flying around, and I think a lot of Moroccans have a really good sense of humour, and so they are quite jokey, and a lot of time, you know, you'll sort of have a laugh and a joke with people, but it is all, you know, it's all very jesty. None of it is intimidating at all. And yeah, that was it. Like, went up to Tangier Med Port and got the ferry back to Spain and was really sad to leave. I just can't envisage how I would have felt unsafe. And like I say, there are unsavoury people everywhere in the world, but even if I had encountered some of these less savoury people, like other travellers have done, I feel like people would help me. I feel like if something bad happened to me, I feel like very quickly other people would have helped me. And like I say, when I had that experience in Vienna, I didn't get that. And you know, in European cultures, a lot of the time, people don't help you. And when I've travelled to the Middle East and North African countries, I have found people are so much more helpful. It's just like the way the culture operates. People want to help others, and people want to welcome tourists to their country and want to make sure tourists are comfortable there. There's also like a huge culture with families, like people really look after their families. I think as well, at the end of the day, Morocco wants to welcome tourists, and I think that is also like really important to consider. Like Morocco is going to look after its tourists.
طبعا يا جماعه زي ما كلنا تابعنا مع بعض الفيديو وشاهدنا فيه، طبعا كل ديت احداث بتدور في المغرب، ولان كل واحد من
التجربه اللي هي قادتها في المغرب يا بسمو، ايه اللي حصل؟
بترد بقى على كل واحد بينتقد المغرب يا داليا، والناس بالاخص الناس اللي بيقولوا ما تروحوش المغرب مش امنه، فهو ده الفيديو بيرد عليهم، وبكل بساطه الناس كلها طبعا لها الحقيقه ولها اللي بيتكلم قدام مننا. فطبعا يا جماعه احنا كده وصلنا لنهايه الفيديو اللي معانا النهارده، ونتمنى ان يكون تعليقنا على الفيديو نال اعجاب حضراتكم، بس يا ريت يا جماعه ما تبخلوش علينا باللايك واشتراك في القناه، والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.